up, killers? It is your final girl, Mel, and this is my killer podcast. What have I been watching, you're wondering? Well, stay tuned, and I will tell you. What's up, everybody? Thank you so much for joining me once again today. If you are new here, guess what? I'm not only on YouTube, I'm also on Instagram, Letterboxd, TikTok, Twitter, and Patreon. I am also part of a Discord group called the Movie Room. So if you are interested in nerd talk about movies, log on over there and check us out. All of these links will be in the description below, and feel free to peruse my socials. Like, subscribe, and follow, and all of the things. I much appreciate it. All right, guys, it is that time of the month again. Well, you know what I mean. We are going to be talking about my Letterboxd. We're going to go over all of the movies that I watched for the month of February, and we are also going to talk about the reviews that I did of the movies that I watched. Without any further ado, let's get into it. It was February, so I was feeling in the loving mood, I guess. So we started off the month with You Instead, which is actually not the name of this movie. I believe You Instead was the original name of the movie, but it is called Tonight You're Mine. And it stars Luke Treadaway. So I don't know if you guys know an actor named Harry Treadaway. He was in the TV show Penny Dreadful. He was also in the movie Honeymoon. Very good movie. Check it out. And it was also a pretty decent TV show. But Luke Treadaway is his twin brother. Here they are. They look almost identical. I know, it's crazy. It's always crazy to find out when somebody is a twin. I think it's incredibly fascinating. But this flick is just your typical love story. It takes place at a music festival. The two lovebirds are both indie singers, and they meet and they get into a particular situation where they accidentally or purposefully, whatever, get handcuffed together, and then they spend the rest of the flick trying to separate themselves, but in the end end up not wanting to be separated. So I did give it 4 stars and a heart. Next up, I watched Valentine. I feel like there's really no need to explain why I watched this flick. I watched it for Valentine's Day, whatever. It's just a fun little slasher flick. It has Denise Richards, David Boreanaz, Marley Shelton. It's exactly what you think it is. It's a slasher flick, a dude going around killing chicks for Valentine's Day. I gave it 3 stars and a heart. I do like this flick. I watch it every once in a while. I used to have a huge crush on David Boreanaz back in the day. So anyway, I went down a rabbit hole a little bit with the Coreys. I was a part of Tim Talks Talkies live stream, and I picked the Coreys as my best decaders. And there was a couple movies that I hadn't seen that they were in. So Blown Away was one of them. So I checked it out specifically for that stream. Not a great flick. I gave it 2 stars. It kind of breaks my heart to give it 2 stars, but it's a lot of weird, sexy moments in this movie. I don't know. I just have a hard time watching Corey Haim getting freaky deaky, if you know what I mean, just because I watched him as a child actor. I loved him as a child actor, so it's weird. And the sexy scenes in this movie they're just not well done, you know, so I just prefer not. And the story was a little silly, and the twist at the end was just, why? Anyway, 2 stars. So next up, I watched Hard Rain. I had heard several people mention this flick, and I own it, so I thought, why not revisit it? I did do a written review on it. If you want to check out my Letterboxd, the link is below. You can read that written review. I did give it 3 stars and a heart. I do like this movie. It's not a game changer by any means, but it's definitely entertaining, and it's definitely worth checking out. The next one I watched was the new Slumber Party Massacre. I went into this flick with no expectations whatsoever. I just didn't know what I was about to partake in. However, what ended up happening was I enjoyed this flick quite a bit. It was very entertaining. I thought it was certainly humorous. I loved the way that they flipped the gender roles a little bit in this one. So I do highly recommend watching it. I gave it 3 stars and a heart. It's not a perfect movie, but it was entertaining and I will watch it again. So Check it out if you want. Next up on the list, I did finally watch Last Night in Soho. I mustered up all my courage and I put it in, and I ended up liking it quite a bit. I had very low expectations for it, I guess. I was just a little worried about the subject matter, but it ended up being fine and I did like it. I did a written review on Letterboxd for it. If you want to check that out, I gave it 4 stars and a heart. Next up, I watched The Lost Boys. I know, I was kind of in like the Corey's world in February, and this is just a classic. I gave it 5 stars. I don't care. I don't care if it's not a perfect movie. To me, it's a perfect movie. And you know what? This flick stands the test of time. If you watch it, the 80s vibes are there, but it's still relatable to today. And all of the actors are amazing. The performances are great. I highly recommend it if you haven't watched it, but I'm pretty sure everybody has. This movie is well known and loved. Next up, I watched the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre that dropped on Netflix. I did this on a watch party with Bacon Pew Pew. If you haven't checked out his channel, I will link that watch party in the description below for you to check out, but I had a good time with this one. Is it a perfect flick? No. Did they change a lot of stuff in the ways of Leatherface's demeanor? Yes, they did. But you know what? I don't care. It was entertaining. It was fast, it was hard, it was gory as shit, which I loved. I did do a written review on Letterboxd. I gave it 3 stars and a heart, but you guys know 3 stars isn't a bad rating for me. It's still a movie recommendation, and it's more than half. So if you haven't checked that one out, go ahead and do so on Netflix. It is a direct sequel to the first one. The next flick I decided to check out was Drop Dead Fred, because this one just came out from Vinegar Syndrome, and I wanted to check it out. I have mad nostalgia for this flick. It was one of my favorite movies when I was a kid. I always wanted Drop Dead Fred to be my invisible friend, but of course he wasn't. Anyway, it's just a fun movie. One of the things that I found really interesting about this one is I don't have the same feels for it today that I did when I was a kid. When I was a kid, it came off very fun and kid-friendly and blah, blah, blah. I watch it now and I'm like, why did I think this was a kid's movie? This is clearly not a kid's movie. And there are some underlining social awarenesses in this movie that I did not pick up on when I was a kid, such as child abuse and mental illness and stuff like that. I recognize that now, but as a kid, I didn't recognize it. So I'm kind of like, why'd you let me watch this, momster? Why'd you do that? But you know what? I don't care. I still loved it. It reads different to me today, but I still love it just as much. I gave it 4 stars and a heart. Still love it. Still great. And this transfer and this release from Vinegar Syndrome was fucking awesome. So definitely check that one out. Since I was going down memory lane, I decided to rewatch Lords of Dogtown. I'm a big fan of these like skateboarding movies and stuff. Gleaming the Cube was one of my favorite movies when I was a kid too. So naturally, when Lords of Dogtown came out, I watched it and I loved it. I did do a written review. I gave it 4 stars. This movie is based off of a real life group of boys back in the day who kind of jump-started skateboarding in California at the time. I was a little disappointed because I did find that it was edited for your pleasure on Vudu, which was a little depressing because I watched this movie a million times over. I know the dialogue by heart. So when you hear the things that are incorrect, you recognize them right away. So I did do several rewindings to see what the closed captionings were saying, and the closed captionings were correct as to what the dialogue was supposed to be, but there was like dubbing over it, certain parts in the movie when they say certain things that are inappropriate or whatever. So I was really annoyed by that. So that's why we collect physical media, right? Anyway, I did a written review on this. I gave it 4 stars and a heart if you want to check it out on my Letterboxd. Oh, I skipped over Summer of '84. I'm sorry. I don't know how I missed Summer of '84. I'm just buzzing through these movies and I totally skipped it. Another release from Vinegar Syndrome was Summer of '84. I had not seen it, but it came highly recommended by like everyone. So I actually didn't pick this up on release day. I went back and picked it up later, and I was thoroughly impressed by this one. It had kind of the Burbs feel, and it kind of had a Disturbia feel. So all of that mashed together in a Goonies-like situation ended up being a really great movie. Is the story original by any means? No, it's not at all. This story's been done a million times. But this particular movie, the atmosphere and the performances were great. The people that they chose to be the actors in this film were awesome. It's a good little flick and it's entertaining. It's not going to kill you to check it out, so check it out. Especially this particular release. If you can get your hands on it, do it because it's a really nice one. All right, let me scan through my movies and make sure I don't miss anything else. That is what I watched in the month of February. Hit me in the comments below. Did you guys watch any of these movies? Have you seen them? Have you not seen them? Did you put them on your watch list? Tell me all about it in the comments below. I love reading your comments and talking to you guys about all this stuff. I don't know what I'm going to be watching this month. I did watch The Batman, and I have a movie review on the YouTube channel, and I also have a written review, spoiler alert, written review on Letterboxd if you guys want to check that out. That video just dropped on Tuesday. Also, next week, I will be joining Born to Be Rad on his YouTube channel on Wednesday, and we're going to be talking about fun things. So, if you want to join our live stream on Wednesday, go ahead and do so. I look forward to talking to you guys and seeing you then. But thank you so much for hanging out with me. As always, if you would like to help support me and my channel, go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and kill that bell for your girl. Share me with your friends. If you'd like to further help support me and my channel, go ahead and log on over to my Patreon and see what's crapping in over there. But until the next time we gather, have a killer day. Peace.